Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my March TBR. Today we are starting a new board of the TBR of life. I still don't know what I've called it. TBR game 2.0. There is a couple of small rule changes but nothing major. And then there's also just a couple of prompts changed and all of that, and I'm just starting again. I was so close to finishing the game, but I decided it was best to just start again because I didn't like the old board. So I did a new one. There is a couple of small rule changes, which I'll get into in a minute. And then I did ask on Instagram for some prompt suggestions, and I want to thank Rachel Karras. She has a YouTube channel, I'll link it down below. She suggested one. Kelsey from I Read Today suggested one, which I really liked. And then she suggested a prompt based around water, and then I just decided, hey, I'll do all the elements. So that was a really good one, and I'll leave her channel link down below. Then also Lucy's Legacy, she doesn't have a booktube, but she does have an Instagram, which I'll leave linked down below. And then M from Bookish Potatoes also just suggested one. There's one more space on the board that I need a prompt for, so if you have any suggestions, please tell me. And then I also need some bad prompts because one of the rule changes means I can now lose the game, and I want some bad prompts for when that happens. So things like, I don't know, an author I haven't liked a book from previously, or someone's worst book of the year. And then I also want a really good prompt for when I win the game, because I feel like if I win it, just being oh, you don't have to have a TBR for the month kind of is a bit too good. And then only oh, you get to take one book off isn't good enough. I think that's all I have to say, so let's get into the TBR. Welcome back to our brand new board. A lot of it is actually similar or the same as the first one, but I have changed it a bit and I've changed some of the rules. So I'm going to kind of just start again. I know I was so close to finishing the game, but I decided might as well just have a fresh start. So the first rule change I've actually kind of stolen from Steph Loves. She, at the start of her Bookopoly, she rolls the dice to see how many books she has to read that month, and I'm going to be trying that. Which this could turn very bad, because obviously if I land on 10, that means I have to do 10 rolls, and then that increases the chances of me landing on things to get more books added as a punishment. So this could be very bad. But let's see how many books I have to read this month. 1. Okay. So just before we start, some other rules. Again, if I land on the same number 3 times, then I have to add a spin. If I land on the same space 3 times, this is a new one that I added, then I have to add a roll. But usually you don't do that, but sometimes it happens. And then again, if I land on a stop 3 times, and that one carries over from month to month. And then once again, once I land on a 1, I rotate the board. There's a little volcano down here, which please ignore my terrible scissors skills and just my terrible art skills in general. Honestly, I'm proud of this, and I know it's not great, but I don't care. And then same when I land a 10, I move the counter up over there. So spin number 1. 5. Okay, so it doesn't matter. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So purple blank. Okay, so now it's time to choose a blank card. So I have shuffled these up, and I'll just give them one more quick shuffle. And then I will choose this one. And that was completely out of shot. Good job. Okay, so this one is either something from the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin or Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. And that is black. Chain of Iron. So I only have 1 book for the TBR for the month. I actually almost spun it again, but then I was like, hey, what's to stop me from doing that when I get a 10 then? So I was like, if you get it on 1, even though it's the first time and it is a bit annoying, I still have to do it, because then when I get a 10, I can just spin it again, and that kind of goes against the whole point of me adding that rule. Yeah, so there's 1 book that I have to read this month, and that is Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. Chain of Iron is the sequel to Chain of Gold, which is a sequel series to The Infernal Devices. It follows the next generation of Shadowhunters as they fight demons that they've never had to fight before, who can somehow stay out during the daylight, and they've lived a pretty safe childhood, so this is completely different for them. But me being me, there's of course many more that I want to read. So the second one that I want to read this month is Bridge of Souls by Victoria Schwab. It comes out on the same day of Chain of Iron, and I will be doing a video where I read both. It'll just be like a weekly reading vlog, so that'll be up around 8th of March, hopefully. Bridge of Souls is the final book for now in the Cassidy Blake trilogy, which follows a young girl who almost died and now she can see all of the ghosts and enter the veil. And it is also the only Victoria Schwab book that I don't actually own. There's a video I've been planning for a while, and I might hopefully get the time to do it now, and there's 3 books that I want to read for that. Now we're up to 5. And then if possible I would love to continue the Mistborn trilogy, so I have to read The Well of Ascension, and I would also love to continue the Broken Earth trilogy, which the next one I have to read is The Obelisk Gate. I started those in January and I really want to continue them. The Mistborn trilogy is set in a world where the bad guy won. We follow 2 main perspectives, and they are Mistborn. And so in this world, the magic system revolves around metals, and a Mistborn is one who can ingest all of the metals and use all of the powers. So these 2 and a bunch of others team up to try and take down this guy who has been reigning for years. It's a really intense story, and I'm really looking forward to continuing. The Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin is one that's really difficult to explain because it is so complicated, and I think it's best not to know too much. But we do follow 3 different perspectives and these seasons, and in these seasons it's basically life-ending events. And one of these perspectives is a woman in like this magical school kind of, which a lot of people don't like these magical people because they think that they're causing the seasons. And then there's also a woman whose child has just died, and then also a child that we're following. Now we're up to 7. Then also I will be participating in Becca's 48-hour bookathon, and then Chloe also has a 24-hour readathon, so I'll hopefully be participating in that as well. And in Becca's 48-hour bookathon, I'll probably read like a couple of comics on SCRIBD or something, and I'll also read some of the short stories from the Realm of the Elderling series, because I think they said they're going to talk about them at the start of the Fool's Errand live show, so I want to read some of them. And then there is one more book that I do have to read this month, and that is Truth Witch by Susan Dennard, and this is probably the book I am most excited to read this month, which is funny because it is a reread and I gave it 4 stars the first time. Truth Witch is another series that I find it really hard to describe, but basically we follow 2 best friends, Sophia and Isolde, and they just want to escape the world that they're living in. But Sophia has a power that is really sought after. She can tell truth from lie, and in their world where a war might be brewing and a truce is coming to the end, lots of people would do anything to get a truth witch on their side. So they are in a dangerous position, and then they attract the attention of a blood witch, and that just puts them in even more danger, and so they have to kind of go on the run. But I'm very excited to reread this, and I have like 3 reasons for reading it, but they all like connect back to reason number 1. So reason number 1 is Witch Shadow, which is the 4th book in the series, is coming out in June. I think there's a lot of things that I didn't pick up on during my first read of it last year, which Blood Witch was my 2nd favorite book of last year, so I really love the series. So I want to see, can I like pick up more stuff this time around. Reason number 2 is because I wasn't actually going to originally pick it up for a reread because I was like, I think I remember enough. But then like first week of February or something, I just was like, I really want to reread them. And so I tweeted it out and I was like, hey, does anyone want to like buddy read it or whatever? And then Susan Dennard retweeted it, which... So I created a Discord group, and there's just a bunch of us who are, some of us are reading it for the first time, some people are rereading it, and it's not too many of us, but I will leave it linked down below if you want to join us and read that along. That also kind of moving on to reason number 3 is on Saturday, JD Reads announced that she's doing Witchlands Along, which is a Witchlands read along, and they're reading a book a month up to the release of Witch Shadow, so we'll definitely be tuning into the live shows as well, and I'm just so excited because I get to discuss it with a great group of people on Discord, and then I get to discuss it with some of my favorite booktubers. And I know Jade already really likes the series, so I'm like, okay, at least if the other people don't love it, at least Jade will. I do say the first one I don't think is super good. It just gets better and better, but also I know a lot of people don't like to have to read 2 books before they get to the good stuff. So I still 4-starred the first 2 books, the first 3 books. The novella is required reading for this, and then Blood Witch is just absolutely phenomenal. But I understand not everyone wants to have to read 2 books and a novella to get to like the really good stuff. I'm very excited because honestly, the co-hosts for that are some of my favorite booktubers, like Jade, Cody, Becca, and Ashley. They're like 4 of my favorites, and they're 4 that I've been watching for like a couple of years now, and I'm so excited to be participating in another one of their read-alongs. Basically everything that they do, I'm like, ooh, I'll do that. The schedules do overlap, so you can join the Discord and you can also watch the live shows because our schedules are nearly the same but slightly different. Jade is just doing one every month, so March, April, May, June, whereas me, I made it awkward. I have like 4 weeks, I think it's like 3 weeks for the novella, and then 4 weeks again for Blood Witch, so that brings you to like the 22nd of June when the Witch Shadow comes out. So, but it's roughly the same. It's roughly March, April, May, June. So if you want to join the Discord, I will leave the link in the description, and I really want people to read this because I love it a lot. The first one I don't think is really complicated. It is quite easy to read and it is quick to get through. And then in Wind Witch, again, it's nothing too crazy, but I do think that there's a lot of things in there that come back around and come up again later that I didn't pick up on the first time, so I really want to reread it. And then Blood Witch is just crazy. Yeah, so I'm just really excited to reread the series and to see all of the things that I missed the first time around because I just really love it, and I hope more people do, and more people will read it, and more people will end up loving it, hopefully. So I think that brings us up to about like 9 books or something that I want to read, but I only have to read 1. Yeah, so those are all of the books that I'm kind of interested in picking up in March. Hopefully I can get to them all. As I said, there's a lot of there seems to be a lot of people doing 24 and 48-hour readathons, so I will hopefully be getting a lot done in March, but we will see. So I think that is all I have to say. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!